What if I told you that Prince Harry's attempt to host the 2025 BAFTA Awards might have been the final nail in his royal coffin? A desperate play for relevance or a bold move to reclaim a spotlight he's been struggling to stay in? What's the real story behind this shocker? And why are some powerful figures working tirelessly to shut him down? Behind the glittering facade of Hollywood's most prestigious awards show, there's a darker undercurrent, one that ties directly to the royal family's grip on power and control. There are things happening behind closed doors, things that no one is telling you, things you won't find in the headlines. The truth is more tangled and explosive than you could imagine, and Harry's attempt to step into that limelight might just be the most dramatic twist yet. But here's the thing, we only know half of it. The rest? It's still hidden. Stick with us as we dig deeper into the heart of this royal drama.
You won't believe the forces at play.
Stay tuned, because you're about to discover the secrets that have been kept from the public eye for far too long. Prince Harry, a man who has distanced himself from everything royal, is reportedly interested in hosting the 2025 BAFTA Awards. Can you believe it? The same prince who walked away from his royal duties, criticized his family and the British media, and tried to live life as a so-called independent figure, yet here he is, knocking on the door of one of Britain's most prestigious events, hoping for a chance to stand on stage. But why? And why now? To understand what's really going on, we need to look deeper. The official story tells us that Harry's attempt to host the BAFTAs was part of his ongoing effort to carve out a life for himself outside of the royal family. According to reports, Harry had big plans. Hosting such a high-profile event would not only prove his ability to stand in the limelight on his own, but also signal that he could thrive in Hollywood without relying on the monarchy's name. But here's the catch. If that was Harry's goal, it raises a huge question. Why would he choose a show so closely tied to his family's legacy? BAFTA, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, is far more than just a glittering awards ceremony. It's an institution with deep ties to the British royal family. Since 2010, Prince William has served as the president of BAFTA, a role that gives him substantial influence over the direction of the organization. He's not just a ceremonial figurehead. He's a key player who has shaped BAFTA's public image and strengthened its ties to the monarchy. So, when rumors surfaced that Harry might be hosting the 2025 BAFTA Awards, one question immediately comes to mind. What does William think about this? Let's consider the dynamics here. Harry, the royal outsider, had spent years distancing himself from the monarchy. His book Spare became a bestseller. Yes, but it also alienated him from his family, painting a picture of a man at odds with the very institution that made him famous. And while Harry and Meghan Markle have launched lucrative media deals, Netflix, Spotify, books, how successful have they truly been? Their projects, while high-profile, have had mixed results. A few documentaries, a podcast here and there, but nothing that has genuinely catapulted them into the entertainment world as major players. So, why the push for the BAFTAs? There's no doubt that hosting the BAFTA Awards would have been a huge moment for Harry. The media attention alone would have been massive. But with the royal family, especially Prince William, so intricately tied to the event, it's hard to imagine any chance of Harry stepping into that role without resistance. And that's exactly what happened. The idea of Harry hosting the event was quickly squashed, though, of course, no one publicly admitted it. Instead, there was something far more telling: silence. BAFTA didn't even bother to release a formal rejection. The mere absence of Harry's name from discussions speaks volumes. Now, you might be thinking, so what? It's just a hosting gig. But here's where the story gets interesting. This isn't just about an awards show. It's about the politics, the power struggle between two brothers, and the very public reminder that Harry's place in the royal family, and by extension, the global stage, isn't quite as secure as he might think. As the story develops, we'll start asking, was this really just a coincidence? Or was there something far more calculated at play? Could it be that Harry's true aspirations are being kept in check by powerful forces within the royal family, determined to ensure that he doesn't regain the spotlight? And more importantly, why is his every move being scrutinized so intensely? The more you think about it, the more questions arise. Stay with me, because this is just the beginning. And the real reason behind Harry's failed BAFTA dreams is much more complex than anyone's telling you. What if I told you that William's silence wasn't just about protecting the monarchy, but something far deeper? More strategic than that? How much power does one family really have over the fate of one man trying to escape it all? The next part of this story will make you question everything you thought you knew about royal control and what's really happening behind the scenes. So, don't go anywhere. Let's pause for a moment. The story we've been told paints a clear picture. Prince Harry, the independent royal, wants to prove himself by hosting the BAFTA Awards. On the surface, it sounds like a bold career move, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this isn't the full story? what if there's more beneath the surface? Something doesn't add up. And it's time we ask the questions no one else is asking. We're led to believe that Harry's intentions were purely about his personal growth. He wanted to step into the entertainment world on his own terms, separate from the royal family's shadow. But here's the problem. Harry's public image and the BAFTA's deep ties to the royal family don't exactly match. How could Harry, a man who's done everything in his power to distance himself from the institution, step into such an event without stirring up a media storm? The fact that he even thought this was a viable path is, at best, naive and, at worst, a calculated move to reinsert himself into royal-adjacent spaces. But why? What's really going on here? Let's consider history for a second. BAFTA has been closely tied to the British monarchy for decades. This is not just a random awards show. It's an event that represents British cultural authority. And its relationship with the royal family runs deep. Prince William has served as the president of BAFTA since 2010. And over that decade, he's solidified his position not only within the British cinema world, but also as the face of the monarchy's involvement in cultural affairs. For him, the BAFTAs are not just a prestigious event. They are an extension of the royal family's brand and legacy. So, when Harry, who has publicly criticized the monarchy and left its formal duties behind, expresses interest in hosting the show, the question arises, what message does this send? Wouldn't his very presence undermine the royal family's influence within BAFTA? Is it possible that Harry didn't see the inherent contradiction in his actions? Maybe. Or maybe this is exactly the type of publicity he needed to stay relevant, to remind the world that he's still a player in the media game. But here's the shocking twist. Despite his ongoing efforts, there's a deeper power struggle at play here. Prince William, with his established position, was never going to let his younger brother walk into this space and disrupt the careful image he had worked so hard to build. This isn't just about two brothers having a disagreement. This is about who controls the narrative, who shapes the public's perception, and who can claim the future of the monarchy. So, why would Harry even consider hosting this event knowing full well how deeply intertwined BAFTA is with the royal family? Is it possible that he underestimated the power and influence his brother holds over such events? Or did he think that his Hollywood connections could somehow override William's position at BAFTA? Either way, there's something incredibly off about Harry's approach here. If he truly believed he could play in this arena, did he misunderstand the stakes? And more importantly, did he truly think that his family would simply let him take the stage without any consequences? But let's take it a step further. What if this entire situation is just a distraction? What if the rejection of Harry's hosting role was never about the show itself, but about a much deeper, more strategic move to remind Harry and the world that there are lines he cannot cross? We've seen how the royal family reacts when one of their own steps too far outside their bounds. Harry may have hoped for an opportunity to break free from his royal title, but what he's really facing is the power of the monarchy's quiet manipulation. As we near the end of this part, ask yourself, is Harry truly trying to build a future in Hollywood? Or is he just trying to pull himself back into the very system he's spent years railing against? Stay tuned, because what comes next will blow the lid off this royal drama and reveal the true forces at play. You won't want to miss it. Let's dive deeper, shall we? Up until now, we've heard the official version. Harry tried to host the 2025 BAFTAs, and his dreams were crushed. But why was his proposal quietly shut down before it even had a chance to take off? Is this just a royal sibling rivalry playing out in public? Or is there something far more strategic and deliberate behind the scenes? The silence from BAFTA speaks volumes, and we're about to explore what's really going on. First, let's talk about power. BAFTA, as you may know, is not just another awards show. It's an institution tied closely to the British royal family's image. Prince William has been the president of BAFTA for over a decade. He's not just an honorary figure, he's the face of British cinema's most prestigious celebration. His presence at the event is synonymous with the monarchy's role in supporting British culture. Think about it. Who would allow someone, especially Harry, to step into that space and potentially overshadow the royal family's involvement? Not William. And that's where the real story begins. Now, consider the timing of Harry's alleged offer. Could it be that Harry underestimated just how deeply his past, his royal connections, and the ongoing family drama would play into his future opportunities? Here's where things get interesting. Harry might have thought that he could just slip into Hollywood's elite without addressing the elephant in the room, his royal family. It's not as if he's a new, untarnished face in Hollywood. His every move, every project, is still being viewed through the lens of his royal history. And frankly, the public, whether in Britain or in Hollywood, hasn't forgotten. Let's also remember Harry's recent history. After his book Spare hit the shelves, he became a bestseller. But not for the reasons he likely hoped. His revelations about his family, the monarchy, and his deeply personal struggles alienated him further from his roots. His Netflix documentary was meant to provide a look into his and Meghan's lives, yet it sparked more controversy than admiration. And now, with the BAFTA debacle, it's becoming clearer. Harry is struggling to break free from the very thing he tried to escape. But why is this so important? Because the media and public perception are everything. When Harry first left the royal family, he wanted freedom. He wanted to control his own narrative, forge a new path, and distance himself from the royal family's constraints. However, as we've seen, his attempts have largely failed. His new projects, from Netflix to Spotify, haven't lived up to the hype. The very things that could have solidified him as an independent public figure have instead turned into reminders of his royal past. And with the BAFTA rejection, Harry has been handed another stark reminder that the world isn't ready to let go of the prince part of his identity. Now, let's ask the tough questions. Could it be that Harry never had a chance at BAFTA? Was his hosting bid just a smokescreen for something else? A way to reignite interest in his story? A story that has largely faded from the spotlight? What if this whole saga was meant to keep him relevant? Keep the media buzzing? There's one thing we know for sure. It worked. The media went into overdrive, dissecting the possibility of Harry hosting the BAFTAs. But here's the catch. Why is it that every time Harry tries to step into the spotlight, it's always tied to controversy, to his royal history, and to his strained relationship with his family? And that's when the unexpected twist comes in. BAFTA, an organization with a long-standing royal connection, wouldn't just casually entertain the idea of Harry hosting. In fact, there's a strong possibility that the entire discussion was shut down at the highest level, possibly even before it had a chance to be discussed seriously. The way things were handled, with no public statement but simply silence, speaks volumes. This wasn't a coincidence, it was strategic. So, let's pause and think. Was Harry ever truly meant to host the BAFTAs? Or was this just another grand misstep in his attempt to reshape his narrative? And how long will the public continue to be entertained by the same old drama? Stay tuned, because what's coming next will change the way you view the royal family's control over Harry's life, and might just reveal the true reason behind his ongoing struggles to find his footing. By now, we've unraveled some key elements of this story, but the real question still remains. Who is behind the scenes controlling the narrative? And what does this rejection of Harry's BAFTA hosting gig truly signify? The more we dig, the more it becomes clear that this isn't just about one man's desire to prove himself. No, it's about much bigger stakes, control over public perception, royal legacy, and the very power dynamics that have been in play for centuries. First, let's go back to the heart of the issue, Prince William's role. As the president of BAFTA, he is not just a ceremonial figure. His leadership at the helm of this prestigious institution means that his influence reaches far beyond the red carpet. BAFTA is no longer just a celebration of British cinema. It is an extension of the royal family's legacy, which William has carefully cultivated over the years. His position at BAFTA, his connection to the world of cinema, and his carefully managed public image all come together to solidify his dominance, not just within the royal family, but in shaping British cultural identity. Now, think about this. What does it mean when Harry, a royal family dropout, tries to step into a space so intrinsically linked to his brother's authority? It's hard to ignore the fact that BAFTA, with its deep-rooted royal connections, wasn't just going to let Harry walk in and take over. That's not how things work when it comes to the monarchy's control over such events. But it's more than that, too. Let's consider the timing of Harry's move. Why now? After years of trying to build his own brand in Hollywood, why target an event so tied to his family's image? Could it be that Harry's career has hit a plateau? Could this alleged attempt to host the BAFTAs have been his way of reigniting his relevance, even if that meant stepping into a space where he was never truly welcome? It's important to understand the power of public perception. Over the years, Harry and Meghan have tried to establish themselves as influencers, philanthropists, and entertainers. They've signed lucrative deals with Netflix and Spotify. They've written books. And yet, despite the media attention, they remain sidelined in Hollywood. Why? Because their identities are still intrinsically tied to the royal family. Hollywood thrives on authenticity, expertise, and independence. Harry and Meghan, for all their fame, have been unable to shed the royal tag. Every move they make is scrutinized through the lens of their royal past, and they have yet to prove that they can be seen as more than just the rebellious royals who left everything behind. So, what does this all mean for Harry? The rejection from BAFTA wasn't just a personal setback. It was a massive power play. Harry may have thought that stepping into a hosting role would give him credibility and media attention, but the reality is far more complicated. The monarchy's influence over institutions like BAFTA is not something Harry can simply sidestep. The fact that his name disappeared so quickly from the conversation speaks volumes. The power dynamics at play here are far from accidental. But here's where things take a turn. If you think this is just about Harry's failed ambitions, think again. The real question is, who benefits from this entire situation? It's clear that Prince William's grip on the future of the monarchy remains unchallenged. His authority is reinforced not just by his position as the heir to the throne, but by the strategic control he exerts over the narrative that surrounds the royal family. William's influence stretches far beyond his role at BAFTA. It's about maintaining the integrity of the royal family's image and ensuring that no one, especially not Harry, can undermine that. Now, let's throw one last twist into the mix. Harry and Meghan have spent years cultivating a brand of activism and progressive causes. But how much of this has been about genuine change, and how much of it has been about staying in the media spotlight? Their projects have often been framed as revolutionary, yet time and time again, they've been mired in controversy. From the drama surrounding their Netflix deal to the backlash from Harry's memoir Spare, one question remains. Are they truly trying to change the world? Or are they just desperately clinging to the narrative they created? So, what does this latest chapter in the Harry-Meghan saga really mean? It's not just a rejection from BAFTA. It's another stark reminder that Harry and Meghan's struggle to break free from the royal family's shadow is far from over. The doors they once walked through are now firmly shut. Their attempts to carve out their own paths are thwarted by the very family they sought to escape. And in this ongoing power struggle, it's clear who's still in control. The truth is, this isn't just about Harry's failure to host an awards show. It's about his failure to redefine himself outside the monarchy's ever-present shadow. And for Meghan, it's the same story. Their attempt to build a life outside the royal fold has been overshadowed by the very thing they tried to escape. So, ask yourself, can Harry and Meghan ever truly break free from the narrative that follows them? Or will they forever be tied to the monarchy, unable to establish a life beyond the headlines? Stay tuned, because we're just getting started, and the next twist in this ongoing drama will shock you. So, what have we uncovered? A royal power struggle, a failed career move, and a battle for relevance. Harry's attempt to host the BAFTA Awards reveals more than just a family feud. It's a complex web of influence, control, and public perception, all under the ever-watchful eye of the monarchy. The question isn't just about whether Harry can succeed in Hollywood. It's about whether he can ever truly escape the shadow of the royal family. His every move, every decision, is being watched and, more importantly, controlled by forces he can't outrun. But here's where things get really interesting. If Harry and Meghan are determined to carve out their own path, is the royal family's resistance just a sign of rivalry? Or is it a strategy to ensure that they remain relevant in a world where their past is both their strength and their burden? And, as the drama unfolds, how far are they willing to go to break free from that legacy? This story is far from over. The next chapter is still being written, and it will be just as unpredictable, if not more so. What will happen next in the Harry-Meghan saga? Will they finally break away? Or will the monarchy continue to reign supreme over their every move? What do you think? Are Harry and Meghan simply fighting to redefine their future? Or is there more to this power struggle than meets the eye? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, share your perspective, and let's get this conversation going. And if you don't want to miss out on the next big revelation, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This story is just beginning, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.